Well, hello everybody. It's great to have. My name is Spencer Williford. It's great to have a Duane Garren today, brother.
It's so good to be with you.
Good to be with you too, brother. And I tell you what, God is blessing your ministry, concert promotion business.
Well, we're very just every door that opens gospel music in any shape or form, no matter whether it's a fairground, auditorium, church setting, or outdoor. We do a little bit anywhere. We're just so thankful for where we get to go and what we get to do.
Amen. Well, Brother Duane, you started gospel music many years ago. How did you start your history in gospel music and what to where you are today?
Well, it's an interesting story. My parents, we attended concerts somewhat, but then a couple that I know really, her name was Moss, and then a teacher, her name was Dorothy Beecham.
I think I need to.
Dorothy will be 90 in June. And anyway, she found out right away I wasn't interested in playing piano or learning how to play piano. So she would pull out records and we would listen to the Statesman Quartet and others. And that's when I really fell in love with gospel music. There was a full-time aspect to gospel music. But I would go to concerts. And anyway, I went one time to see the Lesters. They were in Kansas and got there and saw them, and Brian wasn't there. Ginger wasn't there. Brian was out with back surgery. Ginger out, had a child. And Brian, who didn't travel with them full time but was with them that weekend, said, hey, we're looking for a driver, a bus driver. Now, I was 18 at the time, and I said, well, dad, just and come in for lunch. Mom says, hey, Brian, Brianster, what was he calling for? So I knew them, but I didn't know them personally. You know, I knew they knew me, I knew them, but we weren't really close at the time. So he called and said, hey, Dad, try for us. I said, no. I said, my dad had a small construction company, very small. I said, he can't let anybody go. We're talking, and Brian says, well, why don't you just go with us? We're going to West Texas and New Mexico for 5 days. I said, I've never driven a bus. And he said, you drive those dump trucks for your dad, don't you? Dad had 2 triaxle dump trucks at the time. This is in the late 80s.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I've driven those for Dad. Well, he said, I think you can handle it. So long story short, I met them in Joplin, Missouri at the Holiday Inn and left my pickup truck there. I got in the bus with them and all that. Brian he's driving. He gets the bus out on I-44. We're headed west into Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
He says, we haven't been on the bus 5 minutes. He says, well, are you ready to drive? And I said, well, I guess. And he jumps up out of the seat. The bus is going down the Interstate 44 at about 75 miles an hour. And I jumped in and
he probably said something to me,
started driving. And so anyway, that you didn't have to have a CDL then. In Missouri, we had what they call a chauffeur's license.
Yeah.
And I'd had that since I could obtain it. And so we went out on this trip. We went to West Texas and on out into New Mexico. And
going live today at 6 o'clock.
Was gone for about 5 days. We're coming home, and he was driving again. This is late at night. We're coming back into Joplin. He says, why don't you just go on with us? We're going out to West Virginia and up that way this week. He said, with us. Yes. So I left my truck in Joplin. We got into St. Louis. What the heck? Get the truck back to the park. I had a anyway, I didn't go home back to West Missouri. I didn't go home for 6 months. And so was in St. Louis, we were traveling. Of course, at that time, the Lesters were doing probably 285 concerts a year, including 2 on a Sunday. and we were just busy. So, pardon me.
Really?
That's how I got involved in gospel music. I was 18. That was in the spring of 1989. And so I traveled with them for 9 years. Not long, probably a year or two after I'd started driving, we were in Maryland. Well, we'd work 2 weekends in a row, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night with family.
Hear this one on your
and their driver, Doyle Roberts, Jimmy D, he just passed away recently, like last week. Great guy. Brian said, hey, he runs sound for the Spear family. He said, if we paid you $50 more a week, would you run sound? I said, well, I've never done it, but I guess I could try. So we got all the extra equipment, the snake and all that, and so I started running sound for them at that time. So I ran sound, drove, and then immediately after that, Brian had surgery on his nose or throat or something. I forget what it was. And the doctor said, hey, you can talk or you can sing, but you can't do both. He said,
that means you got to do the verses to it.
So anyway, Brian comes to me and says, hey, you're the first one off the bus and the last one back on at these concerts, and you know everybody. Would you handle the scheduling for about the next 30 to 60 days? I'd like to do that. Well, that turned into 7 years I did it. So I scheduled, ran sound, drove the bus, but not 9 great years. Great years. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Wish I could go back. That was a great time in my life. So stayed with them for 9 years, came off the road, was just tired of the road. I thought, I don't want to do anything. Came home and actually went to work for Walmart.
Oh, wow.
Setting up a new store in Monette, Missouri, which is where I happen to live now. I thought, that'd be something different, Work for them. We're fixing to open the store, get a call. This is when payphones were still a thing. The payphone, and they come over the intercom and said, Duane Garren got a phone call. So I pick up the phone call, and it was Bob Brumley, the son of the late Albert E. Brumley, the gentleman that wrote I'll Fly Away, I'll Meet You in the Morning, Turn Your Radio On, all those great songs. He said, hey, are you looking for a job? I said, what do you got going on? He said, well, we need to hire somebody down here at the publishing company, help us with our Albert E. Brumley All Night Sing. I thought, man, that sounds interesting. So I went down there and went to work for him and worked there for 15 years. And that was a great time. We promoted the Albert E. Brumley Sundown to Sunup Sing at the Parsons Rodeo Arena in Springdale, Arkansas. Consequently, we were there for, I think, 4 or 5 years, and then finally wound up moving the event to the Civic Center in Lebanon, Missouri. And anyway, was there for 15 years, enjoyed my time with them. A lot of great history with the Albert E. Brumley and Sons Publishing Company. Of course, they maintain an office in Nashville, so we were in Nashville a lot and got to know a lot of people in music publishing and the music industry. And then that was in 98, worked for them until 2012. And then I've been on my own ever since, promoting concerts and emceeing concerts, and still love what I do. Still love it as much now as I did. I'll be 56 in August. Yeah. And I've been doing this since I was 18, and God is certainly blessed. And again, I appreciate every opportunity I'm afforded to do what I do. It's a joy to be with you today.
You mentioned about, there's a concert that you did that's your favorite that you've done through the past. What's one concert?
Oh, there's so many. I think my favorite night was the first time we were in, I forget where we were. It was a full evening with just the second half quartet.
Oh, yeah.
All the guys were there. But they were the only ones that sang that night. I can't remember what town we were in. I wish I would have had that poster and pulled it up. But anyway, Pat Barker called and said, hey, would you come down here and MC this concert for us? I said, certainly, be glad to. And we got it all worked out. And that was a great night. There's been so many down through the years. Of course, we were attended. We took a bus trip to the McCamey Spinal concert in Knoxville.
Oh, yeah.
And Paul Belcher promoted that. Place was packed. Packed out. And Paul invited me, and Bill Bailey was there, and John were all there. And he hands me a proclamation and says, and it's dark backstage.
I had tried to get her.
Once you read this, we'll get out on stage. Well, I get out there, and it's one of those tall, real tall. Whereas. Anyway, got a busload of people from the Midwest that had rode out there with us. That was a grand time. That was a stellar moment. Of course, we hosted bus trips for several years to the McCaney's hometown scene in Clinton, Tennessee, and we went. They always had a coming Sunday that week in June. They did that. Great memories. I mean, that was some great times, and boy, there's just so many, for various reasons, concerts that happen. I love the concerts when the second round, you know what I mean, and things really get
the second half
different. Yeah, the second half, you know what I mean, and those used to really be something, especially on these events. On stage, but you'd have Anthony playing the piano.
I got somebody,
different ones, just helping them out. Good times. Every concert has its own unique takes on its own personality. It depends on if there's one group singing or if it's a multi-group. Multi things, of course, man. We all love the National Quartet Convention. Now, I enjoy, and I love that. But as far as old times, I love the Memphis Quartet Show. It's that auditorium is just like being in somebody's big living room, and you're close to the audience, and the audience is close to you, and you can feel their reaction. And so that's at the top of the list. Those big annual events. Of course, Silver Dollar City is always a big time. We see thousands of people there. That's a 12-day event, 11-day event, end of August, 1st of September, called Southern Gospel Picnic. And I enjoy doing the big dates, but I enjoy doing the one-nighters too. We do a lot of one-night concerts all across America, different venues and churches and that. But I love the families too, but I guess if I had to pick, I'm more of a quartet person. You know what I mean? I just love good harmony. If it's and it's delivered properly, I can sit and listen. I'm still a fan. I sit and listen. Even at the quartet convention when I'm not emceeing, I'll go in and sit there. I'm usually there, sit there all night long. I can love it. Listen to it, and got so many friends all across America and Canada, and it's always good to run into somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. But man, if you can't enjoy Southern gospel music for what all it offers, we got such a variety of talent. We just scheduled the Isaacs. You got the gamut from the Isaacs. The Inspirations are hot right now. Gold City, we just went the other night, and man, I'm telling you what, they're hitting on all eights. No, they're a 12-cylinder engine. Most quartets are an 8-cylinder. Gold City's a 12-cylinder engine right now, and we love them. We do the Hayes family. We do their big Singing in the Foothills. That's in August, and that's in Hickory, North Carolina, and that's a 2-day, three event, 2-night concert, Thursday, Friday, and that's special. The pastor of that church and the congregation of Open Door Church there in Hickory, they should write a book on how to host concerts because they can get it done. And that's Singing in the Foothills with the Mylan Hayes family. Gosh, so many great events that I could talk about. They're all, I don't know that I've ever done a bad one. And outdoor, man, we go Harrison, Arkansas, Beacon
That's
Park.
A good one, boy. That's a good one.
Word. It's over the top, and they have really worked that event. They've got shade trees. As far as outdoor events, it's the Taj Mahal, Beacon Park in Harrison, Arkansas, and it's a four-nighter. And what I love about that is the promoters there, the Adams family, Arvin and they and the Miracle Lighthouse Church, they roll out the red carpet, and we do lunch every day with the groups. Late lunch. It's like 2:00. We call it lupper. It's not lunch and it's not supper. It's lupper. And so we get to fellowship with the groups before we go set up, and that really, it creates a good atmosphere, and people come from all over to that one. And it's bring your camper. They got like 100 campsites. There's not a lot of outdoor singings, in the country. There really isn't. But Harrison's a good one. They have a big one in Seminole, Oklahoma. And I tell you, we're fixing to be in. We're going to be in Arlington, Texas. They're at Dallas, Fort Worth, with the Inspirationals Quartet.
That's going to be a big one.
Gospel music show. That's another big one. That'll be April 30th, May 1 and 2, down in Arlington at the E-Plex Esports Arena, I think it's called. Anyway, all the information can be found online, but that's another big red letter date that we do. So, I could go on and on. The calendar is just full of great concerts that I'm privileged to MC. Yep.
You mentioned I was watching a video on YouTube the other day. I think you was the very last promoter that promoted the Primitive Quartet when they retired back in 2023.
Yeah, we did some of their final dates. Man, I had a chance. We used to work a lot of dates with them, a lot, and I rode with them. I never ride with the group. I figured their bus home, but my wife got a call and she was with me, and she needed to go back home. We had some sort of family. I rode with those guys from Harrison, Arkansas to Farmington, Missouri. Was going to be out there the next day. And I don't know when I've enjoyed fellowship more than I did that time with the Primitive Quartet. And just a great bunch of guys. Man, I'm so delighted that Jeff Tolbert and his crew are carrying on that tradition with Primitive Road. And but I like those guys. Of course, work a lot with those guys, and love every opportunity that we get to be with them. We've been with the Inspirations probably about every imaginable situation that you can fathom. We've been in great church services with them, concerts, outdoor dates. We worked at a bluegrass festival with them one time. They was the only quartet on the program. Everything else was bluegrass. Yeah, man, they tore that place apart. They really did. It was a great time. Yeah, it really was.
Well, you mentioned about the quartet show coming up in just a few months, coming up in about a month.
Let me get I got a brochure right here. Let me pull one out because I'll get something wrong. Hold on. Just you hold on. I'll be right back.
All right.
Here we go. Quartet show coming up June 17th through the 20th. We'll be in Memphis for the quartet show. All male quartets. It's the only event of a kind in gospel music. And it's the 17th through the 20th of June. You can go to quartetshow.com for all the information. Quartetshow.com. Wednesday night, the 17th, it's Triumph, like Down East Boys. The Kingsman Quartet 70th anniversary celebration. Thursday night, it's Mark Trammell Quartet, the Apostolic Boys, Lefevre Quartet, Inspirationals from Texas, and Tribute Quartet will be doing their quartet tribute. Then Friday night, it's Gold City, the Guardians, Mark Trammell Quartet, the Blackwood, and also a tribute gospel music. So, anyway, it's grand time. Saturday, June the 20th. It will be Ernie Haas and Signature Sound. Oh yeah, you got the you're better right there. And that's $5 right now. April when you use that code 2026. Saturday nights, Ernie Haas and Signature Sound, the Bible Tones, Dixie Echoes, Jeff Tolbert, and Primitive Road with special guest bass singer Wyatt Austin from the Inspirations. Going to be a great time. There's matinee shows. It's a vintage quartet case with all live music featuring the Dixie Echoes, the Down East Boys, and the Guardians. And then Friday is Double Take with Gold City, a remake of the legendary Double Take album. And that's going to be great. And the Saturday at 1 p.m., it's America's #1 quartet right now, an afternoon with the Inspirations. You'll hear more singing in 90 minutes from quartet when you'll hear at any 3 concerts you're going to attend anywhere else. Those guys, information at quartetshow.com, quartetshow.com. If you've never been, or maybe it's been a while since you've been, you need to come to Memphis. We have a great time. The Sheraton Hotel, which they just changed the name of that, and I am drawing a blank on that. Anyway, all the details are at quartetshow.com. You get a special rate at the Sheraton, which is connected to the convention center, and a lot of people stay there. We have a big time. Anyway, come join us in Memphis, June 17th through the 20th for the Memphis Quartet Show.
Amen. Well, I'll tell you what, Brother Duane, I am, I grew up in South Gospel Music too. I met you a couple of years ago at NQC. When it first came to Pigeon Forge, I said, "My God, I love Pigeon Forge, and I love the NQC." And thank God y'all still carrying on the legacy.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's another event. If you've never been, you owe it to yourself at least once in your lifetime to come to the National Quartet Convention. It runs Sunday through Saturday. And I tell people that's never been, if you just want to come and check it out, come early in the week. Man, we have a on site. In fact, C.T. Townsend's going to be preaching on Sunday night, give a little sermon. And it's like Sunday night church, and we just get right into it. And for most nights. Anyway, go to nqconline.com for all the details. 7 days and nights, man. If you love gospel music, and if you love pancakes, you'll love Pigeon Forge, the pancake capital of the world. But it's also the gospel music capital of the world for the big National Quartet Convention. And those dates, I tell so many dates, I got to get it right. Let me pull out. Look here, I'm old time. I've got my old calendar book here. We'll be at the Quartet Convention September the 27th through October the 3rd. So it's the last Sunday in September, the 27th, through Saturday, October the 3rd. That's in Pigeon Forge. And I'll mention right after that, we do an annual date in Summerville, Alabama, right outside of Decatur, Alabama. We're over there at the Somerville Baptist Church with the Inspirations and the Mark Trammell Quartet. That's Thursday, October the 8th. And we always have a big time. You need to get that one on your calendar. And then I'm looking here while we're talking about events. I'm talking about we'll be with our friends, the Lesters, the group that I started with, for their big event at Merrimack Caverns, a singing inside a cave. The Natural Ballroom there seats 1,500 people. And we'll be there October the 14th through the 17th. You talk about a unique concert inside Merrimack Caverns, and you can go to thelesters.com for more information. And then something else you may not know about, Spencer. We'll be in Morganton, North Carolina, October 29th, 30th, and 31st for Hallelujah Weekend.
Oh, I'll say about that.
The Church family will be singing. The Inspirations will sing. We're going to have a full live and have additional singing. Hallelujah, Morgan, Carolina, October 30th and 31st. Get it on your calendar. Make plans now. Bring your lawn chair. It's inside the pavilion there, and it's a very comfortable place to have a and singing, and we want to see you there. That's October 29th, 30th, and 31st. Wichita, Kansas, November the 19th. We're in Oklahoma the next night. We're getting that situated. And then our annual date in Springdale, Arkansas, November the 1st, Thanksgiving. 1 o'clock start time at Calvary Free Will Baptist Church. And I mean, we always have a crowd. Amen. And we always have a camp meeting time. And we want to invite our Northwest Arkansas. Well, we have people drive from Dallas, Texas coming to that every year. I mean, it's well worth it. So, man, they can always go to my website, DuaneGarren.com, sign up for my weekly email newsletter. And I put out an email every Tuesday with detailed flyers for what's coming up for the next 12 months. And you can see where I'm going to be and make plans to be with us at all these great places. We can't mention every concert that's on the list, but that's just a little snippet of what happens in my world.
Yeah.
We do a lot of traveling, but every mile is worth it. You know, the Goodmans used to sing a song, I don't regret a mile. I travel for the Lord. And
Amen.
I travel about 70,000 miles a year.
Wow.
MC concerts in about 15 different states. And I go about anywhere and love every opportunity. I sure do.
Yep. Well, thank you, Brother Duane, for coming on. The best is yet to come. And
thank you for having me. And you send me the link, and I'll share this with our friends everywhere.
All right, I will. And
thank you.
And God bless you, man.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.